So I'm aware we probably have many people joining today's webinar, from seasoned Synergy veterans to those of you that are totally new to 12D Synergy. So I'm just going to start by giving you a brief overview of what 12D Synergy is all about. So 12D Synergy is a common data environment. It's designed specifically for the engineering and construction industry. I like to think of it a little bit like File Explorer on steroids, and it's a single source of truth for all your project information management. This is how 12D Synergy sits in an organization. So you have a centralized 12D Synergy server that's your single source of truth, and you can connect to all the information stored in your 12D Synergy server using one of our 12D Synergy clients. You can do so in the office, but also anywhere that you have an internet connection. Primarily, you'll be using our Windows desktop application, but we do also have a light version that's available via any internet browser, so you can get access to any information that you have permissions to see wherever you are. We also have a mobile site app for iOS and Android that allows you to access information out on site easily via your phone, so looking at things like drawings or reports, or you might be filling in forms or uploading site photos. In 12D Synergy, we store information in jobs. Jobs is really just like a container of information. You can actually attach custom fields to jobs to store information like job number, job name, site address, client details. All this information or these attributes can be used for searching, as well as they can be used in, say, like document naming conventions or template documents. Each job can also have collaborative elements. So you see we have task list, team list, transmitted files, forums, and forms. What we do is we also template these jobs. So you define, hey, for this type of job, this is the standardized structure that I have. And you can also apply different settings around the job template. So things like file metadata standards or document naming conventions. So whenever a new job gets created, it just gets created from that template, and it comes preloaded with your standardized structure and any settings that you want on that style of job. 12D Synergy can also be configured to various different standards. So you might use Synergy to assist you in achieving, say, ISO 9001 or ISO 19650, or you might also have client-specific requirements that you can build into your templates. 12D Synergy has permissions controls, so this allows you to define who has access to what data. It also ensures that you have no unintended access to data and making sure that the right people are getting access to the right information. 12D Synergy isn't just for people inside your organization. You can also bring externals into your 12D Synergy system, so joint venture partners or project stakeholders. You can also use the permissions to make sure that they're only getting access to what they need. So, for example, they might only see one job in the system. They don't know anything else exists. And you can also limit what they have access to within that job as well. So in this instance, I've given a project stakeholder access to just the latest shared and published drawings. They can view them, but they can't edit them. Now, when we're working with files in Synergy, I like to think of it a little bit like a library. So when I want to work with something, I check it out. And when I'm finished with it, I check it back in. Now, when I check a file out, what it does is it transfers a copy of that file to my local device, and it puts a lock on it on the server. So other people can see, hey, I'm working on it. They can view it, but they can't check it out and edit it. Now, this is perfect for people working on site or from home, because once you check it out, you're no longer reliant on a constant internet connection back to your 12D Synergy server, but you can also be confident that no one back in the office is working over top of you. When you're finished with it, you go and check that file back in. What it does is it pushes a copy back up to the server, and it creates a new version of that file. So across the life of the file, you get a history of who's been working on it and what they've been doing, and you can view or roll back to any previous version of the file. Now, because Synergy is taking care of this version control for you, you don't need to manually save, Rev A, Rev B, final, draft. You just have one copy of the file, and 12D Synergy takes care of all that version control for you. So that means when you're working or sending out that file, you can be confident that you're working or sending out the latest and only copy of that file. Now, at 12D Synergy, we believe in being a data agnostic CDE. So that means that we try to work with everything we can. And that means it gives you the ability to pick the best tool for the job rather than being locked into a particular ecosystem of software. We also aim to eliminate data silos by connecting with other systems that you might need to use on your project. Often your project might start in your project accounting software. So we've built connectors to common project accounting softwares. And what it does is it monitors your accounting software. And when a new job gets created in the accounting software, Synergy will automatically detect that and it will go and create a new job from a template that you've defined. And all the information that you're entering into your accounting software, like job number, /stress client details, will flow through to 12D Synergy attributes. So you're not double entering data. And it also means as soon as you've created that project in your accounting software, you automatically have an area in 12D Synergy where you can begin creating and saving information too. We also understand that not everyone in your organization or your project might be using 12D Synergy. So we've built data flows to other common engineering CDEs to automate the flow of data between CDEs, so pushing and pulling files automatically. We have plugins for the Office suite, so you can interact directly, or you can interact with Synergy directly from within Word and Excel. We also have a plugin to Outlook that allows you to automatically file emails from individual Outlooks to a common job location where you have a complete record of all the email correspondence on that project. So no more email correspondence siloed within individual inboxes. It's all in one location. We've recently introduced integration with Microsoft 365 that allows you to co-author on Office documents that are stored within 12D Synergy. Civil engineering projects work with all kinds of weird and wonderful tools. So we aim to integrate or natively manage the widest range of tools that you're going to be using. Obviously, we have really good integration with 12D Model, but we also have extensive integration with CAD packages like BricsCAD, AutoCAD, and Civil 3D to do things like manage references, data shortcuts, and update title box and do PDF printing. Something that's really special and unique to 12D Synergy is we have a concept called a managed folder. Because a lot of the applications you'll be working with, they're not just writing a single file, they'll be writing multiple files and folders at once. And our managed folder concept allows us to manage this data natively without any integration. So this includes survey packages like Leica Infinity or Trimble Business Center, water packages like TrueFlow or HitGrass, or GIS softwares like QGIS or ArcGIS. It's no secret that engineering projects create a lot of data, so it's important that we've built in advanced searching tools to help you quickly locate the information that you're looking for. So obviously you can do your standard searches on file names and things like that, but we also allow you to search on all the metadata of jobs and files. So things like who last edited it, what state is it in, what revision is it in, has it been sent out? We also index all the contents of your files to allow you to do deep searching, because you may know some keywords in the contents of the file, but you might not know the file name itself. So that content search allows you to do that style of search. In the context of a job, we'll also plot all your jobs on Esri maps built into 12D Synergy. So rather than scrolling through hundreds of thousands of folders to locate your job folder, you can just open up Esri maps built into Synergy and you can go and locate your job spatially. It also easily allows you to see what other projects that you've done in the area. Awesome. So now that we've got a solid overview of 12D Synergy, I'm going to pass you over to Richard and he can take you through some of the exciting new tools in 12D Synergy 6.
Thanks, James. I'm going to start by taking you through some of the exciting new integrations between 12D Synergy and Leica Geosystems. Starting with Leica Infinity. This is some work that Leica Geosystems has been doing, and in version 4.3 of Leica Infinity, you can now directly connect to 12D Synergy and import and export your data from your 12D Synergy jobs directly into Leica Infinity itself. We've also added an integration with Leica Connex, which allows you to connect 12D Synergy to Connex to synchronize data two ways. So this is your file data is being sent to and from Connex, as well as the important associated metadata. So which machine it needs to be sent to, and other bits of attribution that are important, which really allows you to simplify your office to field and field to office workflows. This means that you can connect 12D Synergy through to your Leica fleet via tools like Captivate, Icon, and Machine Control. We also have an integration coming with Hexagon GeoCloud coming up soon, so look out for that one as well. But now on to version 6. We are going to talk about a MicroStation and OpenRoads plugin, Power BI integration, a new Forms tool, a BIM viewer, and our new issue tracking capabilities. So starting with MicroStation and OpenRoads, right now in previous versions of 12D Synergy, you can already store your DGN. We are data agnostic. You can put anything you like in there. And when you double click on your DGN and you check it out and open it up, it will open up in the appropriate product. If you have references, you can set those up as download dependencies, or you can use a managed folder as well, and all that data will come down with you. But in version 6, we wanted to add a more streamlined experience to make it more like our BricsCAD and AutoCAD integrations. So with version 6, you now have a plugin with a ribbon, which gives you buttons like open, check in and check out. But more importantly, it adds the ability to manage your references and to directly attach them from within the product. So you can now get your references as they update. You don't need to leave the authoring tools and come back in to get those updates. We've also added Power BI integration. So for those of you who don't know or haven't used Power BI, it's a business intelligence platform from Microsoft that allows you to aggregate data across multiple sources. We're now providing an endpoint for Power BI to interrogate, which means that you can draw in 12D Synergy statistics into your Power BI reports. And that means you can include information about jobs, users, contacts and companies, file and storage metrics, connectivity and license usage metrics, and more. This really gives you the ultimate reporting capabilities so you can tie your 12D Synergy data into other statistics across your organizations. You can then use that data to chart, have dynamic filters, and much more. As some simple examples, you might want to, for example, show how your file storage has changed over time. So where is your data stored? How many file changes have occurred over time? What's your disk usage like? Alternatively, you might want to look at the number of users over time. How many people are using the system on different days, or where are those users located? And you could take it a little bit further by integrating tools like FME. So FME is the feature manipulation engine from Safe Software. It's an ETL tool that allows you to extract information from geospatial data, transform it, and then load it back into other systems. So export, transform, load. And it does this in a no-code way. So with FME, you could extract geospatial directly from 12D Synergy, interrogate and transform that information in useful ways, pass that through to Power BI to aggregate that data, and create live dashboards, which give you better decision-making capabilities. So for example, you might draw out information about a master information delivery schedule. You can display all the important information that you need across all your files. And maybe you're using ISO 19650, so you might want to display those attributes as well. You can take those and then chart it. You can make it interactive with filters and so on. One of the big features that we've added with version 6 is Forms, which is a really cool feature. So look, right now with 12D Synergy, you can collect data through attributes. You can attribute pretty much anything within the system, whether that's jobs or files or 12D model projects. The problem is that not every type of data capture suits direct attribution on files. So consider an OH&S form or a site inspection form. You don't really want to have a PDF, a digitized PDF of the form that you filled out and then have attributes answering 50 questions. It's not really going to work the way you want. And there are so many different varieties of forms that need to be filled out. And half the time, if you don't remember to digitize them and upload them to your system, they're going to end up in a filing cabinet somewhere, forgotten. And that connection between your jobs and all the data around it is so important and is what 12D Synergy gives you the power to manage. So with version 6, you can now create your own rich forms for data collection directly within 12D Synergy, and you can fill them out in the field or in the office. You can then use these to generate output files with the answers using your corporate branding and your look and feel. So you can essentially build up a global library of all the forms that your users need to fill out. Or if you've got client-based or government-based variations, you can have job-specific overrides as well. And these can then be available for people to fill out wherever they are, whether that's through the desktop client, through the web client or on their mobile device. You can then assign these forms out via tasks. So if you're using our job templating system, as soon as you start work on a new job, that job structure is built for you. Your forms can then be assigned to the standard things that you do at the start of your work. And as you start to assign your team to these jobs, those tasks will be associated and those forms will be associated to them as well. You can also enforce form fill as you move through a workflow. So as you move through an ISO 19650 process or even just a CAD review process. So for example, if you move through in review back to WIP because there's more work to be done, you can have a form pop up and you have to fill that out to answer all the questions about why it's going back into the WIP state. You can also create QR codes so that people can simply scan with their phone and start a new form fill. So you might have delivery drivers coming out on site. You want them to fill out a visitor log, so they can just simply scan it with their phone, fill out why they're there, who they are visiting, and so on. And it's important to note that filling forms is available for anyone. So it can be done in authorized context, so only specific users, but you can also have anonymous users as well, which is really important when you don't know who's going to turn up ahead of time. Once you have filled out those forms, you can then generate Word, Excel, or PDF outputs. And you can also utilize your 12D Synergy attributes in this process. So you've spent time attributing your jobs. You know who the site supervisor is, you know the site address, you know the job number. You shouldn't have to fill this out every time. It's repetitive and that repetition tends to create errors. So you can pull those attributes directly into your outputs automatically. And at the end, if there are important answers in the forms that you want attributed against the files, you can do that as well. So for example, we have a site inspection with a pass or fail result. That's something you might want to attribute against the output PDF, and then you can use that to find things much more quickly. And as we mentioned before, you can actually use your own templates to generate your own look and feel. The forms are really easy to build. We have a drag and drop editor that I'll show you during the demo. There are lots of different input formats as well, whether it's checkboxes, radio buttons, text boxes, dynamic fields, and more. And we also have some optional form logic, so you can control visibility, what's required, what's not, based on previous answers. So we'll now dive into a demo and take a look at how forms work in version 6. So we'll jump down to our Emu Park job, and we'll take a look at our Forms tab. We'll see two global forms that have been defined here. We have a SWIMS form and a worksite checklist. We'll take a look at both, but we'll start with the safe work method statement. So this is just an example of a SWIMS form. It's not a complete SWIMS form. And this has all been laid out by the administrator through our editor. So we might pick the risk score, we might pick some PPE that's required. We can define whether there's any high risk work, say none, any emergency response tools on site. And then we have any job steps and hazards that need to be filled out. And this has been defined in a way that allows us to add multiple rows, as many as we need. Now, perhaps there's some training that needs to be filled out, and then in the end you can sign. So at this point, it's worth noting with the signature as well, if you've defined one in your profile, that can flow through automatically. So at this point, I can choose to save or I can submit this form. We're going to save it because I'm not complete yet. So once it's saved, I can look at my list of forms and I can see here I have a SWIMS form that has not yet been completed. So when it's not being completed, I can always come back and continue it. Once it's done, I can no longer make any changes. Let's take a look at our worksite checklist now. So here we're going to fill the whole form out. Is there a safety management plan? Yes. Fill these questions out. I can answer if there's any additional comments. Are there induction records on site? Now we're going to look at environmental management and we'll say, look, there actually are some trees that aren't protected. So select no there. And now I can fill out some non-conformance. And I can add as many non-conforming items as I need. We'll add one around the trees and say trees on site are surrounded by building materials. I can then pick a file. Now, if I was on a phone, I could take a photo and use that as my evidence. But I'm on a computer here, so we'll just go and select our file from a photo that's been prepared earlier, and we get a preview of that as well. So if there were other items I needed, I can add those here. Otherwise, we can continue on. And I'll say, because of this item of non-conformance, we're going to fail the inspection and click submit. And this will go away and take a moment to generate our output PDF. So we can then take a look at our list of forms, and we can see I have another form that's been completed. I can no longer continue it. I can only view it because it's been finished. And then I can actually go and have a look at the output files that it generated for me. So we can open this up straight away in our PDF viewer. We can see I've got my corporate logo at the top. And we can see here there's some questions that I didn't fill out. So who the site supervisor was, when it was completed, and this has been pulled directly from our job attribution. And the rest of this is laid out by me in our template format. So we have a table format for these answers, but you can add this however you like, and we'll take a look at how we do that shortly. If we scroll down, we can see our tree surrounded by building materials, all our non-conformance. If we take a look as well at our attributes tab, we can actually see that failed result has been attributed there, which means I can search for it. And we also have a link back to the form that generated it, which is really important because you want to be able to connect all the pieces of your data together within 12D Synergy. So we might have a look at the administrator now and have a look at how we build these forms out. We'll go to our Forms tab, we'll take a look at our worksite checklist, and we'll go and edit the form itself. So this is a really simple drag and drop editor. I can just drag the questions in. Perhaps I need some more checkboxes. Maybe I've got a file upload that I need. I can drag things around if I want to make changes. And there are a number of 12D Synergy options as well, whether that's a company or a contact or a location and so on. We can also then take a look at how we build up our templates, which is just a Word document format. So we can take a look at our checklist here. And we can see here it's a simple square bracket format. So everything's laid out in a table, but this is all done directly through the Word document, so you can lay it out however you like. And we have a plugin as well with a new button that allows you to quickly insert these form answers as well. So it's really easy to bring this information through. It's finally worth mentioning that we also have a CSV format. So I mentioned before that you might have people turning up on site, filling out a visitor log. What you don't want is an individual PDF every time someone turns up on site. So with the CSV format, someone might scan on their mobile phone, they'll fill it out. It just adds one row to this CSV as a running register that you can look at later. The next feature we've added in version 6 is our BIM viewer, which is the one I'm most excited about. It allows you to visualize IFCs in 3D, and you can do that directly from the Thick Client, our desktop app, or the web app. It supports model federation, and it also provides clash detection support. So the best thing to do here is let's just go and take a quick look at how easy it is to use. So I'm going to go down and have a look at our IFC folder, and we have a number of different IFCs to take a look at. We'll start with a highway. So as soon as I click on the file, I'm going to get a preview of that IFC. So I get that quick visual check of what I'm looking for. And if I'm ready, I can simply click the Visualize button. And again, this viewer is available in our desktop application or the web application as well. So once that loads, you can do everything you'd expect to be able to do. You can zoom in, you can rotate, and so on. If I had multiple versions of this IFC, I could use this drop-down to skip between them, which lets me see if there's any changes that have been made. We have an object browser too, which lets me look through all of the entities within the model. So I might pick my northbound carriageway, that'll be highlighted, and I can have a look at properties for individual selections as well. This has all been exported from 12D Model, so it's all fairly detailed in its attribution. I might say, see that there's BIM details about the pavement here, or AMDS details and so on. We also have a slicing tool, which allows you to slice through different planes. If you want to have a look at boxing layers, subgrade, and so on, you can drag that around to get to the point of interest. Setting up a federated model is very easy as well. You can simply mark the folder as a federated model folder. Once you do that, every IFC that you add will combine in the background. And you can always still look at the individual files within your IFC by picking the drop-down and choosing Visualize File, but the default behavior is to look at the whole federated model. There's a little bit more data here to load. So once that completes, we might, for example, look at all of the models that are here, and we can turn off different models if there's things I don't want to see. So let's turn off the tin and actually our line marking. And this works exactly the same way. We can, zoom in, rotate around. We can see we've added some roadside furniture. We've got some signage, some guardrails, some light poles. We've got a bridge that's been added as well. So it's really easy to use. The object browser is still available, but you can see everything from all of the models that have been included. And of course, you will get your properties as well as you pick through. So we'll go take a look at clash detection. We'll have a look at a subdivision model that we have with some services. So once that loads, we might actually turn off the pavement layer. We're only interested in the services here. So if we zoom in, we can see that we've got some drainage elements, some services and so on. We want to see where there are clashes. So what we might start by doing is look at a clash detection that was run earlier. So all of the clash tests that you've run over time will be here. You can download reports, otherwise you can view them interactively. So I can click on my first clash here. It will take me straight there and I can see where there's an obvious problem. So it's really easy to use. Setting up a new clash test is very easy. Just pick the option to define a new clash test. Give it a name. Pick your selection set. So what are you clashing? Perhaps stormwater versus utilities. And then the type of clash that you're doing. Is it a hard clash or a clash with some sort of tolerance? Once that's done, you submit it. It'll go away in the background. It will tell you that it's running. And when it's ready, you can come back here, grab the report and take a look. We've also added issue tracking support to version 6, which essentially allows you to raise issues directly on your jobs or your files, your 12D model projects, and more within 12D Synergy. You can then create different issue types as well. So much like our task types, you can define the different types of problems or issues that might emerge on your job. You can use these issue types to define the attribution as well that's required to fill this out. Maybe there are important attributes that you need to fill. You can define the statuses as well. So maybe it's not just not started in progress done. Maybe it's in progress 25% review, 50% review, and so on. You can control that completely. You can then tie this into the workflow engine as well. So as you move from one issue state to another, you could have some automation take place. Maybe it needs to email somebody. Maybe you want to pop up a form and fill out some extra questions. You can also communicate via comments, which allows you to build up a collaborative conversation around your issues so you can see how they've changed over time and the way people are addressing them. You can also raise issues directly via the BIM viewer. And when you're done, you can export it to BCF if you're passing that back to third parties that might have other BIM tools. So again, we'll go and have a look at that in our demo. Go to Emu Park job and we'll jump into our issues tab. So once we have our list of issues, maybe we can add another one. We might say the job is running. Now, this is a job-specific issue, but I can also bind my issues to specific entities like 12D model projects or files. But we'll start with a job-specific one. I can fill out if there's an issue type that I want to use because I have attributes to capture. I can do that. I can pick my status, who it's assigned to. Are there any watchers? These are people who should be notified if there are changes. The job is overdue. Leave a description and create that issue. So at this point, I can see it. I can have a look at it, get a summary. I could leave a comment. When are we looking to investigate this? Click save, and that adds a comment. So I can see who raised the comment, when it was raised, but also the state we were in, which allows you to connect your comment to a point in time so you know where in the issue you were. I can then edit this issue and I can maybe put it in progress and update. And I can leave another comment and save that too. And I can see here now the comment is labeled with in progress. But I also get an updated log too, because you need an audit log of when changes were made, when it moved from one state to another, when attributes were changed, and who made that change. This becomes particularly important as an issue might move through several phases and several states back and forth over its lifetime. Now, we can also go and raise issues against models in our BIM viewer. So if we go to our highway model, we can click visualize, load our viewer. We might zoom in on the roundabout with its traffic islands over here and raise two issues. And we might say review the island, but perhaps it's not to standard. We can fill anything out that we need, but we need to leave a description. We can create that. We can then go and drop a pin on the other island too. Review that one. And you'll know that it's taking a screenshot, which gives us a visual check later. So at this point, I can have a look at my object browser and I'll see a list of issue cards. I can filter this down to only the things that I want to see, things that are assigned to me, things that are open or closed. But I can use these cards to simply select the different issues that I have, and it'll pop up as well. So I can, see what's happened, what conversations have taken place and so on. And let's say I get an updated IFC because the issue's gone back to the designer. They've made changes, they've exported it to IFC. I'm having a look again, I can see it's been changed. So I can come in and I can make a status change if mark it as done if I need to. Now, when that's done, I can also look at my issue list and see how these are displayed there. Just refresh that. We can see we've got two different issues that were raised. One is done, the other is not started. And you can see these have a target. These are now bound to an entity. If I click on one of these, we get that visual display of the issue. So I don't have to go and look at the visualizer because I have this visual cue. If I want to, I can jump to the individual file or I can visualize this as well. So we always connect everything back to its source. So if we have a look at this file, you actually see it has two issues attached to it as well.